Hey guys, Arm&Gun here, talking today about the NEMO Omen. This is their Recon model, I believe, which is the 18-inch barrel. Really cool rifle. Of course, the claim to fame with the Omen is being the first AR platform to bring 300 Win Mag to the AR-15 kind of family of rifles, right? This isn't an AR-15 per se, but it takes all of the all the ergonomics for the most part of the AR-15, much like the AR-10. I have a POF 308 over here just for reference, and again, that's not actually an AR-15. It's POF's take on the AR-10, keeping a lot of things similar, but it's not actually a mil-spec receiver. There is no mil-spec outside of AR-15 receivers, though I suppose a couple companies like Knights with their SR25, DPMS, those they came pretty close. They're pretty standard, pretty widely used receiver patterns, but for the most part, everything's going to be proprietary at that point. So that's really in the weeds. But the Omen is is pretty cool. This is a pretty cool gun, and as I mentioned, they were the first ones to bring the 300 Win Mag to AR-15s, or AR-15 lovers, I guess, the AR-15 scene. And just overall a really gorgeous gun. This finish we're going to talk about first, hand anodized. This is not Cerakote. That, believe it or not, is anodized. I think this is probably the coolest finish I've ever seen on a firearm. Right up there with like case hardened finishes, and actually, well, I'm gonna give a quick nod in the gun of the day. The gun of the day at the end of the video, I'll show you another gun of a finish that I absolutely love, but that's for later. So NEMO went about this 300 Win Mag gun. That's pretty cool. There was really, at the time, this gun dates back to 2013-ish, 2014. This particular example was imported into Canada because I'm in Canada, and yes, we do have guns, as you can see. But this was imported by the first owner back in 2014, 2015. He kept it until very recently when he sold it. There's a bit of a scare up here in terms of AR-15s. He sold it. My buddy bought it. Super happy guy. Pretty excited to get himself an Omen. This is the first Omen I've seen in Canada. This is the first NEMO product I've seen in Canada. And my buddy bought it, and I said, hey, you definitely gotta let me borrow this thing and do a video. So this is not my gun. I'm just borrowing it for the purposes of doing this video. And NEMO is not, sponsoring anything. So none of that. These are all just my own impressions. I've only handled the gun. I've not shot the gun. So if you want to leave now, by all means. I'm not going to be able to talk about shooting experiences just yet. Hoping to be able to shoot this gun a little bit here. I'm not sure I'll be able to do a shooting video, but hopefully I can at least shoot my buddy and get a bit of an impression on it before I go, and I'll talk about it again at a later date. But really, really supposed to be very soft shooting, and that's because NEMO has, in addition to developing its own polymer magazine, 14 rounder, limited to 5 in Canada. Really nice magazine. I think this is possibly a nickel boron coated follower, potentially. Really nice anti-tilt. It's a great magazine. Developed that in-house for their rifle. They developed and patented a very unique system that I'll show you at the end of this video. No, I won't. I'll do a separate disassembly video on the NEMO Omen just to keep it short and to the point. But it's a very cool system that uses a little recoil dampening mechanism built into the bolt carrier. That's probably the best way I can describe it simply. So that's pretty cool. I will show you that in the disassembly video. But you'll see also here, side charging upper. That's super interesting. That's the main, deviation from a typical AR-15's controls, is the fact that it's got the side charger. We'll look really quickly again here. 300 Win Mag, 308 Winchester, or 7.62 NATO. If you're going by the military or the metric, 7.62 by 51, 7.62 by 68, I want to say, 68 or 69. But you can see it's like 30% longer cartridge in terms of case capacity. Plus, it's a wider diameter case. So as you can see, this one is definitely a larger case head. The case head is this thing on the bottom. So you can push, it's a similar diameter, so you can just push a, you know, slightly heavier projectile or bullet that much faster. It's credited as being quite a flat shooting cartridge. So, you know, flat, if you can get a nice accurate system to shoot it out of, that's desirable for marksmen. So this is very common chambering for military bolt guns. You'll see there's lots out there. You know, maybe they initially had a 308, then they went up to a 300 Win Mag, and then now it's also common to have a 338. So even this, like the new Seiko TRG M10, which is a beautiful rifle, Australia took that on as one of their guns for one of their units, their bolt guns. That's a chassis, a platform, and it's got a quick change system where you can run 308, 300, and 338, all quick change, user doable, you know, out the field barrel changes. Pretty cool. Usually you'll have to swap a bolt as well, of course, and the magazine. But barrel, bolt, magazine, they can swap out to different calibers. Pretty cool, a bit in the weeds, but that gives you a bit of idea for the 300. And that wasn't traditionally a semi-automatic cartridge, except maybe for some specialty hunting, you know, sporting guns. But to bring it to the tactical market, NEMO was, I think, the first guys to do it with a 300 Win Mag in an AR system, possibly in a semi-automatic tactical system. I think they did a great job. Honestly, these are credited with being really, really good guns, and this is like a Gen 2. I know the old guns in particular had a good pedigree for being very reliable, like basically just tanks out the box. And thankfully, this gun came just after the quad rail apocalypse, so they're into the Add-A-Rail system now, which is very slim. I love the fact that even this would have been early back in the day, was to delete the pick rail on the bottom as well. I think they took a bit of a stab in the dark with that one, and I got to credit with them because that was smart. The other company that I've seen do this pretty early on was POF, and this is a POF 308, which again, if I didn't mention already, it was just here for kind of comparison. They did the deletes on the bottom as well as the top. They were one of the early guys to do deletes because they realized a lot of guys, unless you run a night vision system or a PEC or something like that, well, even a PEC you can run up here, you don't really need this rail space, and this rail space doesn't necessarily need to be milled in. You could add it. It doesn't need to be 100% monolithic for the point of having an optic. So they give you more than enough room to run optics, even forward set ones. So I think that was really smart, because then it slims down the rail. You can really, you know, wrap all the way around it without, you know, having to add more bulk with a rail cover or something like that. So these things aren't all cheese graters. So I'm going to credit NEMO. I'm going to give them another nod for that. That was smart. And this is a really sleek rail. Again, this is also a DI system, a direct impingement. There's no piston running in here. There's just a really small gas tube that redirects gas from the barrel into run the cycle of the action. The reason this one is so much bulkier is because, well, they didn't quite, you know, streamline it yet. Their new Edge ones are more streamlined, but also this is a piston gun. There's a big piston up here and a piston assembly. That takes more space. So that's just why that's bulkier. But we'll talk about this gun more in depth in another video. I just really wanted it here for the size comparison and something to kind of look pretty and take up some of the space. Outfitted with an L-can. I know I've had guys say, like, you know, let me know what the optic is when you show an optic on a gun. So L-can, Spectre DR 1.5 to 6 with the ARD. You can remove the ARD if you want a more compact package. It's Tenebrex tactical covers. The whole package is available from Armament Solutions, Armament Technologies, and Ergo Grip. These are my favorite grips, so I'm just gonna plug them really quick as well. Absolutely love that. This also has an Ergo Grip, but it's just the Sure Grip. I like the Deluxe is a bit better. Yeah. Okay, so we've got moving forward, we've got an adjustable gas block for precision. There is a purpose to that. I'm not sure if I think it's like 2 modes for suppressed and 2 modes for unsuppressed, I think. We got a nice big 2-chamber brake here, which is quite nice. Looks quite nicely made. Moving back, we have probably should, these guns are always proved and cleared, but I was just behind the muzzle so you guys don't freak out. There it's clear. This has a Geisley SSA-E trigger. Really nice trigger. So let's quick trigger pull. Really nice. Really nice. Oh, MFT stock. I don't think that's not factory. It takes any AR stock. You can throw a PRS. You can throw a UBR Gen 1, like that's basically what I would do. Again, my favorite stock right there. Also, I like running those on more like heavier guns or guns that are more front heavy, because it helps balance out the weight. Sure, it adds a little bit, but having balance when you're in a heavy system, I think balance is more important than just shaving off a little bit of weight. So that's usually my go-to. Traditional AR trigger group, you can't run into safe unless the hammer is cocked. We've got a traditional other controls though. It's non-ambi. I believe the new guns are ambi, with the exception of they don't have an ambi bolt catch and release. So this one's got your traditional bolt catch right there, right? Locks are back. Of course, this is also a reciprocating system because the bolt handle is literally right inside the carrier. So then here's your bolt release. Send that home. And now you can engage the safety, just for demonstration purposes. But they didn't do an ambi receiver. So yes, NEMO brought the first 300 Win Mag semi-automatic platform for the AR. Awesome. They didn't follow up with their receivers being ambidextrous as well. Maybe it hasn't been a need for their customers, but I think honestly in today's market, like Falcor Defense, those guys are the next out with a 300 Win Mag AR, and while they don't have the same patented recoil dampening system in here, I think they've compensated for that with other tuning and stuff in terms of the gas system. Because again, they both boast having a gun that recoils, less than a 308, like 223 level recoil levels out of a 300 Win Mag cartridge. Pretty crazy. Again, you can slap a big brake on something and then claim that it's much lighter recoiling, because it's true. An effective muzzle brake can really take off like 2/3 of the felt recoil. It's pretty standard. So I'm not really sure. It's obviously a subjective point, but they didn't. So my point was with ambidextrity. Falcor built a beautiful receiver set that is fully ambidextrous, and I really like it. NEMO does have a gorgeous receiver set on their XO series. They do 308s and 6.5s, so it's the next size down, because they also do a 223 model as well, which doesn't feature it, but they have this XO series. Man, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. It's a really cool, unique system over here for the bolt catch and release, and I'm quite fascinated by it. I always admire the new takes on bolt catch and release. This POF also is a really interesting bolt catch and release. The release is right here, nice little paddle, and then the catch is actually in the trigger, within the trigger guard, so you can just pop it up there. It's pretty useful. So my gold standard is still the Robinson Arm and XCR series, where it's integrated into the outside of the trigger guard. I think that's just genius. Works the best for me. But no, that would be, if they could bring their receiver functionality from their XO to their Omen series, I would like that much better. Also, I'm not as much of a fan of this, reciprocating charging handle and the fact that it's on the right side. I mean, if you're an 8K guy, cool. This is like an easy transition into the AR world. But I would prefer, at least if they made this on this side. I don't know why you would have it on this side, to be honest. I don't understand. So I think if I had to choose one, I'd put it on this side. And if it could be both, even better. I mean, some guns have done that. But that's my feedback. I'm going to pop off my optic so I can show you the way the rail interfaces with the receiver. So I'm going to toss my POF out of the way here. Toss these cartridges out of the way. And again, this is the Elcan TR. Actually, I didn't show you here already. The TR, I think, is a fantastic optic for a rifle system such as this. You've got your 1 power, 3 power, 9 power, and it's illuminated, fantastic glass. The same guys that make this, the Elcan, but I just think this is a really cool DMR style optic. With a rifle, it's still meant to be kind of like a combat rifle. Like this would be obviously semi-automatic, but 14 rounds. I think you could reasonably do 18-inch barrel only. You could do some close quarters stuff ish if you needed to. Maybe that's a bit of a stretch. Maybe I should stick out a philosophy of use for this thing. Really, this is just a really cool platform. So, but nonetheless, I like this optic. I like this optic on a wide variety of weapon systems. Would be really good if it went to at least 12 power, but maybe a 1 to 4 to 12. Elcan, if you're listening, the 1 to 4 to 12 would be pretty cool. Anyways, we're gonna, so this is obviously a proprietary upper in the first place. I don't know if it would be even compatible with other rails. Given how slim this is though, like you think that, you know, it could open itself up to being, like, this is like AR-15 handguard slim. Really nice gun just to grab a hold of. It feels really good. It does feel really good, and despite all this upfront weight, it does balance still decently well. Where's the balance? The balance point is still just forward of the rear pin. So, or I guess this pin here, front pin. That's decent, considering how long the barrel is. So the interface system here is quite robust, like literally overlapping and fastening right into the upper receiver like that. Like that's pretty robust. So again, obviously, I mentioned this is the Adarail system or something similar to it. They've now gone with the times. They're now in M-LOK. Got a really nice looking M-LOK rail. And that's pretty much it. I got my bonus gun for you guys at the end with the special finish that I also super admire. And otherwise, please check me out on Instagram at arm.and.gun. I post there daily, stories and grid posts. And if you've got any questions on this gun, just drop them below. I will do my best to answer. And if not, hopefully someone else will as well. So, bonus gun and my favorite finish goes to the Sig Sauer. This is their 1911, the We the People 1911. And it's got this distressed finish. They actually, they tumble these guns. And I think that's super cool. I got custom grips and stuff too. I've got another video on this gun on here. This along with the Spartan 1 as well. Now, if I could, I would love to grab the Spartan 2. The Spartan 2 is also got like a copperish color, but a similar finish to this. And that's, I got my eye on that one. So, at any rate, guys, that's it for today. Thanks a ton. I will catch you next time. Arm&Gun out.